And we got to talk Hulk Hogan.
Oh, dude, last night, I mean, you led with the Hulkster. I think you were just going to lead with, hey, did you watch Monday Night Raw last night? Because I thought it was fantastic. I am a casual wrestling fan.
Same. Grew up with it, but much like baseball cards, much like Don Mattingly, much like my starting lineups, much like Nintendo games, I sort of evolved a little bit when I discovered women.
You said, hello, poster from Spencer's Gifts. Goodbye, Bo Jackson poster.
There you go. It was a certain time. So, in other words, I hold those memories fondly near and dear. I don't deny that I loved wrestling and that I loved Nintendo. I just wasn't one of those dudes that carried on with the love of it. Right?
And it's interesting because you and I, for as all the differences we have similarities, and one of those is we were both guys into video games and wrestling.
And baseball cards especially, right?
But as we got older, I had friends that in college were still gaming all the time, and I'm like, yeah, I just don't got time for that.
Same. I still have friends that game, and we used to game together when we were kids, and they're like, you just don't have gamer's DNA, dude. And I'm like, I guess not.
Perhaps. I do not.
Either that or I discovered women. I don't know what happened
and
to
you have family members that like collect championship belts and stuff that go to every SummerSlam and Royal Rumble and WrestleMania.
My brother-in-law, Dan, collects wrestling figures and dolls and belts and is obsessed with it. And I have other friends still obsessed with it.
I'm sure that really turns your sister on.
I have friends that are still dropping big legs on the weekend. And I'm like, yo, dude. But that's okay. We're not judging because, again, like I said, we still hold those things near and dear. We're still baseball fans. I still could appreciate some retro video games. I still have love and interest even in new ones. Yo, I happen to be in 4 GTAs. My stupid voice is in a few Grand Theft Autos. So I still have a love for those things. The same way I still appreciate wrestling, even though I'm not into it the way we were when we were kids.
But I think yesterday, being that it was the first time Raw was on Netflix, a $5 billion deal, I was like, you know what? I got to see what's doing. And I think a lot of people, the casual wrestling fan that sort of knows what's going on, but they don't watch like they did as a kid, definitely at least turned it on for a second last night. Yo, Big Ryan, you watched, right?
Not only do I watch, when I was younger, I actually used to do it.
You were a wrestler?
Yes, I was.
Like a WWE wrestler or like a Kurt Angle wrestler? Like a
professional wrestling. I wrestled here in L.A.
I didn't know that.
Yeah?
Hold on. Did you know this?
You didn't know this?
I mean,
Ryan's the junkyard dog?
I was not the junkyard dog.
Junkyard Ryan. I mean, I could see it. You're a giant. For people that don't know, how tall are you, Ryan? 6? Let me guess. I'm 6'4".
6'5".
Dang, dude. 6'5", 275.
Well, sure, that's around there.
After the holidays, you're giving him some love.
305?
No, it's nowhere near that.
Ryan's
You see Ryan, when there's food in the kitchen, he pops up.
Yo, if you weigh 305, I wouldn't mean it in like you're an overweight kind of guy. You're just a big-ass dude.
For 2 weeks now, he's been eating salads for breakfast. So he's like 285.
Hey, Ryan, who was your guy? Who was your dude that really got you into it, though, when you were a kid?
When I first started watching, obviously it was Hulk Hogan, but like I kind of like matured, so to speak, and my favorite guy of all time is Bret the Hitman Hart. Love that dude.
I loved all those dudes.
Do you
but you
mean
know
the excellence of execution?
Yes.
I'm not one of those hardcore representation matters guys because I just watched and liked it and enjoyed it, but I did feel that it did matter in the WWF growing up because I feel like everyone was represented. So anybody that looked like me, I sort of gravitated toward. And even though I'm not, what was Ricky the Dragon? What was his ethnicity? I know he was Asian.
When I first met Covino, I thought he was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
I still identified with him, but I loved me some Tito Santana.
Santana.
Arriba, just as a result, because if you go back, take it back on a Tuesday, they really leaned into the stereotypes hardcore. They really did.
You think?
I mean that's just how it
Tatanka,
was.
Nikolai Volkov? I mean, please. So
Iron Sheik.
I think we were all wrestling fans as kids, right? So you turn on Raw last night. You just had a curiosity, like $5 billion deal with Netflix. And then you know what it got me thinking immediately? The Christmas Day games with the NFL, Monday Night Raw. The countdown's on, dudes. we are saying goodbye to television within the next, whenever these contracts run out. If you think there's going to be networks that easily hold on to these NFL deals, you're out of your mind. They might be on Peacock instead of NBC. It might be on some other app, but streaming is clearly the future. I mean, that's obvious, but after watching Raw last night, everything that kept you possibly having cable TV,
I mean, think
is
of one of
slowly
our
going away.
biggest events last year. Tyson, Jake Paul, as much of a clown show as it was, as much of a circus as it was a huge event. It was on Netflix. So it's absolutely where we're headed. We're there already. It's just a matter of how fast we wean out the other networks.
So the intro to Raw, if you watched, I thought was fantastic. They did a montage that someone should win a major award. They did a montage where it's like Macho Man, Bruno Sammartino, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Andre the Giant.
Stop,
like
you're getting Ryan all excited.
They were bouncing from generation to generation. Heartbreak Kid, Diesel. Like whoever did this montage, like appealed to my emotions. I was getting a little emotional. My wife's like, "Isn't this beautiful?" I'm like, "It is beautiful." It made you realize how much time has passed since we were watching Roddy Piper as little schoolboys till now.
In your defense, though, any montage with the right music could get you emotional. I've sat at weddings of people I didn't even care about or really know, and I've watched their slideshow. With the right music, it could get you.
You're crying, but I don't know you. So I'm watching Raw last night, like many people, and Triple H starts the show. Then, of course, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who's electrifying. If you smell what The Rock is cooking, he does his whole thing. It's amazing. I'm watching The Undertaker comes out on a motorcycle. John Cena's there.
It's amazing how many amazing characters there are that we identify with.
And so many of them died over the years, right? You see John Cena, "You can't see me," saying he's on the farewell tour. The crowd's...
That was John Cena?
The crowd is doing a...
I thought it was Ernest P. Worrell on steroids.
He does look like Ernest.
Hey, Vern.
John Cena, the crowd's going crazy. Thank you, John. Danny G, you said the boys had it on the background at your house. So everyone, I feel like, was somewhat watching a little bit, right?
Yeah, it was funny because our 20-year-old, he told his mom, he was like, "You see the grown men in the crowd going crazy screaming?" And literally 2 minutes later, he was like, Mom, CM Punk, CM Punk. So he's doing the same exact thing.
I mean, it's theatrics, it's sports entertainment. It's, as my mom would always say as a kid, "Richie, I know why people love it. It's like a soap opera for boys." I'm like, that's exactly, I mean, we knew that since the 80s, right?
And it was a special night because it was the debut of Monday Night Raw on Netflix. So
a big
stars
deal.
came out, big deal, new era, new beginning, new home.
And all that build up for the biggest observation that everyone made. And the observation was simple. You saw the legends coming out, and you were waiting because you knew that he was going to be there. Maybe about 2 hours into Raw, the stadium, the arena, into it, it's out here in Los Angeles. The music hits. Hulkamania, brother! And the crowd's booing. Boo!
Boo!
F you, Hogan!
Thunder Lips sucks.
And it was, I mean, I'd say a little shocking. Yeah, shocking. I mean, it's Hulk Hogan, the guy that built wrestling. Listen, there's a section of people that never forgave the Hulkster for some of the racial things he said in the past.
I think some people, for as many people that haven't forgiven, there's a lot of people that forgot.
And there's also the layer that this event is at the Intuit Dome in Los Angeles. Where have you seen Hulk Hogan over the last year of your life? Trumpamania, brother. Donald Trump. MAGA, bro. Oh, what you going to do? Hogan he ripped his shirt off at the RNC.
I was going to say pitching his new beer.
Which was the lamest part of his promo. "I'm here at Real American Beer, brother."
Have you tried it?
I have not.
I think we need to preface this conversation with everybody was reeled into the WWE for the most part, courtesy of Hulk Hogan. It wouldn't be what it is without him. Ryan, You said he was one of your favorites.
Yeah, but now he can go straight to hell.
All right, hold that. Hold that. But Rich, we also need to preface it that when I think of Rich, I think of three people. Rich's three heroes are Joe Montana, Alf, and Hulk Hogan.
That was my childhood.
Yeah. So we also need to make that clear. And that's why Rich was shocked. How could his hero be booed in this way? Of course, we remember the racist things he said. Was that the reason? So we have a theory. Rich has a theory. We have a reason.
I think it's a combination of a few things. One being there's a lot of people. And Ryan, we were talking about this off the air. Hogan was your guy. And the minute he said some racial stuff, you as a man of color were like, F that guy, right?
I was out. Yeah, I mean, he got me into wrestling. He got me hooked as a kid.
And you thank him for that.
I thank him for that.
Yeah.
But as soon as I saw that video of him saying those words, I'm like, dude, like, really, man? Why would you say something like that?
Yeah, it's definitely going to change the way you think about the guy. You're like, wow, man, that sucks. And that's unfortunate because you don't want to feel that way, right? You want to love the guy because you did for all those years. So was that the reason?
And then other people, were quick to point out, they trotted out Hulk Hogan in Southern California 2 months after an election where he's ripping his shirt off with Donald Trump. Trumpomania, brother. You're putting one of Donald Trump's number one supporters in liberal Southern California. But then someone was quick to point out, you know who else supports Donald Trump? Triple H, The Undertaker. They did not get booed. So it makes you wonder, is the perception of Hogan completely changed to the point where I said to Covino earlier, I said, man, he should have came out as Hollywood Hogan. The boos at least would have matched. He's got to go back to the NWO days. At least the boos will make sense.
Honestly, he should invest in some Just for Men and dye that beard black again, dark brown black, and lean into that.
Well, back to Taker and Triple H, they were never caught saying the N-word. That's the sticking point.
Again,
right,
you're right. That is the.
So it's less politically charged and probably more racially charged. People didn't forget, even though I still believe so many people did forget. I think people remember the sex tape, right? Like, he's went through a lot, but it still was shocking to see, and that really was the headline. On a big night for the WWE, one of the bigger stories and takeaways from the night is that, are there no more Hulkamaniacs? There's a lack of Hulkamaniacs. There's not as many as there used to be, and he got booed at this big event. So it makes us think.
He came out with Jimmy the Mouth of the South Heart, and I saw a funny meme where it was Hogan and Jimmy Hart, and it's like, man, Jimmy, I guess I didn't like you, brother. Like,
yeah, it's kind of sad, to be honest.
It
but
was not you, Jimmy. It was the Hulkster. What happened?
Look, and we also have to be fair. Rich and I have met him plenty of times, and he was always a great guest and always a great guy on our show. But it seems like the public's opinion has changed. And based on that, what's your theory? Racially charged, politically charged, a mixture of both? You hate his beer? What's your reason? What do you think the theory is? And are there other people that have fallen from grace? Who comes to mind? Because he's in that, well, he'll never be in that OJ category because OJ's probably the king of this conversation.
I mean, he didn't murder anyone, but he did say some bad things.
But I'm saying he's in the conversation based on last night of people that have fallen from grace. Can he turn it around? Can things change? Yeah, possibly. Why not? Right?
I don't know,
We love
man.
second chances. Maybe not. But are there other people that come to mind when you think of they were beloved, they were the face, they were great at what they did, and then, I don't know, the public turned their back on them for whatever reason?
So who do you want to add to the list? 877-99 on Fox. Who do you add to the list we've made so far of Hulk Hogan and O.J. Simpson? I'll add someone a little lighter. Ellen DeGeneres. Her story of being shunned because she was a lesbian. Everyone felt for her story. She got back on TV. Everyone loved Ellen. She's dancing, and her daytime talk show is bigger than anything. Then it comes out that she's like terribly mean and hard to work for,
And everybody
allegedly.
hates her. Yeah.
And everyone hates Ellen. She does a stand-up special as her farewell, like, sorry, everyone hates me.
Which I thought was pretty good, by the way. I saw a meme just yesterday saying that she looks like Nosferatu. She looks more like Nosferatu than the new Nosferatu.
So, Ellen, OJ, Hulk Hogan, who do you add to the list of what happened?
I got one, and it's a bit polarizing. because I feel like men could acknowledge that, yeah, he screwed up, but women really hate and hold on to their disdain of this guy for good reason. I'm not defending him. I just feel like there's a double standard here. Tiger Woods. Because I feel like there's a part of guys that not understand what he did, but still root for him.
I feel like it was like one too many.
No, yeah. But we've moved past it a little bit, and we root for him. Don't tell me we haven't rooted for him and appreciated the moment he had with his son just recently during the hole-in-one. We rooted for his comeback, right? You're pulling for him a little bit.
Oh, at the Masters a couple years ago.
But anytime you show any sign of like, go get him, Tiger, some woman will she'll mean mug you, side-eye you, give you a dirty look because women have not forgotten.
Rich, I know you're not as mad at him as the rest of the world, but Lance Armstrong.
Yeah,
my theory
he's on the list.
My theory on Lance is that I get it. He's on this list 100%.
Same as Tiger.
But my take is so listen, someone told me if I watched a documentary on him, I might feel differently. So keep in mind I haven't watched much about him. But if he helped a ton of people who had cancer, who cares if he cheated in a stupid bike race?
Did he, though? Did he pay for the drugs? Because a lot of the money went to awareness.
I know, but
that part
my overall
rubs people the wrong way.
My overall sentiment is like when you talk about what's more important.
Yeah, but he was a fraud. That upsets a lot of people.
But if he was a fraud that raised money for people with cancer, isn't that still more important than a stupid bike race?
I think people are ticked off because he sued people too and tried to like ruin people's lives.
Yeah,
okay, so maybe he's a jerk. I agree. So see, I don't know this part.
And
of it.
he was adamant about not cheating. So
I'll give you one more.
And again, are we hating on these people? No, we're compiling a list here, and we're saying, unfortunately, for things that they did, there's got to be accountability there on their part too. Hulk Hogan is on this list.
Short of murder, I'm a firm believer in second chances, right? Unless you kill someone, I'm a big believer in
sure.
You take the fun out of everything.
We're all human. We make mistakes. I'll give you one that I love this comic, and a lot of people are like, really? That guy? He's creepy. I love the comedy of Louis C.K. I think Louis C.K.
Wow. Here's where it gets sticky. Here's where it gets sticky.
I chose the words there, man.
And I used the word sticky on purpose.
I recently bought his comedy special for $10. I watched it. I love Louis
You don't even
stuff.
donate to charities, and you're buying that guy's comedy special? Here's the sticky part about that story.
Stop saying sticky.
What if what he did was to someone you love and care about? You'd feel a little different about that, right?
Of course.
I mean, could he have done worse? Absolutely.
Didn't he just pull down his pants and do things you shouldn't do?
That's the story, yeah.
I mean, to be fair, he did ask for permission first.
Yes. And
allegedly.
If you really want to be, fair, his comedy's great. I think he's one of the funniest dudes.
He's hilarious.
And I can separate. So you're never going to listen to a Michael Jackson or R. Kelly song again?
Dude, I'm able to separate the art from the guy. I am. Right? But not everybody is. Not everybody should have to.
Yeah. I mean, see, you know why? I think I could separate the Hulkster, meaning I look at Hulk Hogan and say, I love Hulk Hogan.
But Terry messed up.
Terry might not be the best guy that I thought he was.
Yeah, he messed up a little bit.
So, if you look at it that way. What's up, DB?
I also think just with the wrestling fans, and maybe this is a little bit off, but there is the point of like, all right, we're doing this again. Like this is for the 19th millionth time.
Hogan always comes out for the big events, and I think it might be with the younger generation might be like enough already with the old guy.
Yeah. Come up with something new. Like you can't go to the well.
No, it is. DB, I felt that way when I saw the crowd.
Really?
react.
You got that vibe? Especially you were there with your teenage sons and everything. They're probably like, come on, man. Like the Rock's their guy. Like that's as far back as they want.
Yeah, their throwback is John Cena and The Rock.
Right.
Hulk Hogan to them is like, who's grandpa with the flabby arms?
That's a good point.
Exactly.
Because, him having this Republican stance, I don't think that's it nowadays.
Because guess what? A lot of wrestling fans are Republican.
A lot of wrestling fans are Republican, and 50% of L.A., it was in Los Angeles. Last I checked, 50% of L.A. was voting Republican.
Yeah.
Right? So your thoughts on it, and who else are we forgetting or adding to this unfortunate list? And I say it respectfully and kindly because I do agree with you, Rich. Some names are worse than others, and I do root for people to turn it around.
Yeah.
But because, it's sad to see people loved and then sort of hated in this way.
Well, I do think that Tiger Woods has made a comeback and people are rooting for him more. I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Phil Mickelson is one who didn't realize he crossed a line in abandoning his fans and comments that he made, and then when he jumped to live golf, like the Phil fanatics, now he's nowhere to be seen because he's not on the PGA Tour anymore. Even when he plays in majors, he's not getting TV time when he does it. He's completely gone off the map, not being booed, but just not nearly even close to being loved as he once was.
No doubt. Hey,
Michael Vick as well.
You know what? Michael Vick, there are some
he's
people.
a great example of turning it around.
You know
though.
what? I feel like he's done a lot of good since the terrible things he did with dogs and everything. But there are some people you could tell, and I hate the stereotype, but I feel like a lot of times you could tell a woman, like, oh, Michael Vick, and she's like, that son of a bitch and the dogs. Women hold on to it harder for sure.